Dan, you know what the best part is about, at least from my perspective, hanging out with you today,
Mm.
is honestly, I was rooting for the Knicks to win Game 5, so the series would last 6 games.
Mm.
So I got to be one of the first people to have my opinion on what the NBA Finals is going to be. You ever get that way? You're like, this game, it better not close out. There better not be breaking news at 3:15, because if Isaac and Suk are going to take all the credit away from me, I'm going to lose my GD mind.
It is always interesting on stuff of like when I know certain things are coming. I'm like, it's not during my show, but this one is like, I'm sitting here. I've got the tweet ready, and I'm just like, and send. Like it's
Danny, are you paying attention? Danny,
Yeah.
you're like, sorry, I'm in another world.
Yeah, I'm like, like,
Ron, are you paying attention?
no.
Nope.
Nope.
There's like there's things that are happening behind the scenes, and you're like, okay, this, and this, and like, I'm never bothered by something happening, but it is funny. We've had stuff like break the second we get off air.
Oh, the boys in the morning talk about it all the time. The old 9:15 news dump.
Well, I mean, the Blazers sale
Oh,
happened
yeah,
I want to say it happened at 9.
Yep.
The announcement went out. I think it was like 9:02 that the announcement went out. And they're like, great,
Thanks a lot.
the biggest news that's been in this city for probably 25 years.
Thanks
It's like,
a lot. And here's Colin Cowherd.
yeah, it's like, oh yeah, not only it's the one time slot that we're not local for.
Yeah.
It's like, if you look around the market, nobody is.
Swag
It's
drops
like,
that bomb
oh.
at 9 o'clock and nobody gets to talk about it till noon.
Yeah.
Because it's national in between.
It's like,
That's hilarious.
oh, wow.
Well, we do have the NBA Finals coming up. Game 1 on Thursday from Oklahoma City.
I hate it. We have to wait 3 days.
I know. I was really loving that every other day was a
Oh,
game.
God.
Only one day off.
And
Even travel days, I loved
and
it.
then you get to the finals, and it just feels like forever.
I know,
It's
I
like,
know.
why are there so many days between games?
I wrote this down. I think, let's just dive right into this. I think what's going to be most fascinating for me in this series is going to be, again, lack of better words, pace of play. Because as we talked about in the first hour, what makes Indiana so fascinating and so fun to watch is, as I described it, it's a flow. It's just kind of a vibe. They just kind of play basketball and they see how the other team is playing basketball and kind of move and shift and kind of flow into that like a river downstream, like a lazy river at Mandalay Bay, one could say. To where when I watch Oklahoma City, I feel like they control it. Like they're very much aggressive.
Mhm.
They tell you how
On
we're
both sides of the floor.
They tell you how we're going to play,
Mhm.
and you are going to have to adapt to it. And you saw that's why Ant had such a tough time with it. That's why, I thought Rudy Gobert took an unfair punishment of the critics because he's not a scorer. So why did you expect him to score?
Mhm.
But that's why Julius Randle had really tough games because Oklahoma City said, you're not going to do it.
Yeah.
You're not.
We're gonna
We
make
are
some-
in control.
We're going to make somebody else do it. And that's the thing is that the Pacers take kind of the same approach of like, we're going to play this certain way. And the Thunder, what's interesting in the NBA playoffs historically, you get bigger.
Mm-hmm.
You play bigger because you play slower.
Yeah.
Neither of these teams get bigger. They get smaller and they get faster. And that's where this gets really interesting. The Pacers, the Thunder are minus 800. They are the third biggest favorite in the modern era.
Really?
The Pacers are plus 550.
I wonder who, does it say who the other ones are? Because I would take a guess.
So the biggest is in the modern era is very easy.
Lakers over Pacers?
Lakers over Sixers.
Oh, Lakers over Sixers. Hey, I was only a year off. Kudos to me.
They were minus 2,000.
Jeez.
Which is why,
I mean, that Sixers team was fun, but the Pacer team was better.
Well, I mean,
and the Knicks team was better.
The Pacers and the 76ers, those years that they went to the finals, that's why the matchups between the Lakers and the Kings and the Lakers and the Blazers were so
big because it was all the marbles.
Those two teams that met in those playoff series, those were going to be your eventual champ. Whoever came out of that series was going to win a title.
Blazers beat the Lakers, and they unfortunately roll my Reggie Miller Pacers.
I mean, those are the two best teams in the NBA that year.
Yeah.
The three best teams in the NBA in that 2-year stretch were the Lakers, the Blazers, and the Kings.
What's the other one?
The other big one was the Warriors I had it here just a second ago. 2018, the Warriors were minus 1075 against the Cavs. And that was the 2018 Warriors team, not the one that blew the lead.
Yeah, that's the one that won.
Yes. The biggest upset is that same Lakers team 3 years later against
In the bubble.
Pistons. No. That the 76ers team.
Pistons beating the Lakers
And
in 2004?
Yes. And they were the Lakers were minus 700 going into that series. So right around the
Vegas
same level as the Thunder are right now.
Vegas have chosen the Thunder to win, basically.
Yes.
They are telling you the Thunder are going to win. Do we disagree? I don't.
I don't, but it's not a hesitance to give the Thunder their due respect or their flowers or anything like that. They are
the best team.
They are, and they are the exception to the rule. They are the second youngest team. If they won a title, they would win the second youngest team. The Blazers in '77 were the youngest team. Now,
I know you talk about the adjusted playing time rate.
Like
I've heard you go on about
they're
that.
They're a little bit older,
which makes more sense.
They are very young. Like
very young.
Their three best players
can
are
Chet Holmgren buy alcohol?
Yes, he can. So, but you're talking about 26, 23, and 22.
Yeah,
their three best players are very young. Now, Alex Caruso's 31. Like you
gotta have some old daddies up there.
And again, he's the only old guy. Hartenstein's a little bit. I think he's 28, 29. Dort's 27, 28. I got to double check on it. But they are incredibly young. But the Pacers aren't old. Like Pascal Siakam is the only guy on this team, and Miles Turner who are older.
Yeah.
Like Neesmith is younger. Hallie is younger. Like you just look up and down this team. Obi Toppin is not a 10-year vet. Like you know what I mean. But they're a young team too, and their continuity is what's really interesting. And like I said earlier, I'm gonna probably pick the Thunder to win this series.
Right.
But if you told me the Pacers won, yes, it would be a surprise. But we're both soccer fans.
Mm-hmm.
This is not Leicester City.
No,
this is not a minus 5 or plus 5,000.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
Yeah.
I'm going to take the Thunder in this. I want the Pacers to push it to 7 games, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
And if the Pacers win, I'm going to be surprised, but not really. I'm going to be like, this team is good.
Yeah.
I'm surprised they beat the Thunder. I'd be more surprised that the Thunder didn't get it done than the Pacers winning. Is what I'd be more surprised by.
In the second half of the season.
Because they're fun. They're fluid. They move the basketball. They pass. They shoot. They're extremely well coached. That's probably where they have the advantage in this series. Rick Carlisle is an OG, triple OG.
Mm-hmm.
I love him.
And we talked about this when Nemec was in here last week. If Carlisle and the Pacers win this, where that puts Carlisle in the pantheon,
that's kind of the. I mean, it's all you're going to have.
Fourth coach.
You're going to have Red. You're going to have Phil. You're going to have Pop.
Riley Spo.
But then
Carlisle will be the fourth coach in NBA history to win a title with 2 separate teams.
I would take
That's it.
I would take Carlisle over Spo.
I don't know if I'd go that far, but he also did.
I mean, I like Spo a lot.
But he did get the best of Spo.
He did.
But all of a sudden, you're talking about Rick Carlisle very differently.
Very differently.
2 very different franchises that are built entirely differently.
Oh, extremely.
2
I didn't
titles
even think about that.
Over overwhelming odds. He beat the Heatles and then he beat the Thunder. Like it would be like, who's got something better? He's not taking the best team in the league and winning. He's taking maybe the best well-built team within these constraints winning.
I'm just thinking about that Mavericks team, and it's like OG style point guard and Jason Kidd.
Yep.
And then just
an older Jason Kidd,
older
Tyson Chandler, older Dirk Nowitzki,
and you're building it around an aging shooter in Dirk with some nice pieces around it against the most insane 3-headed monster. Look, LeBron James in Miami is the greatest basketball player to ever play. Like just from a physical specimen, his years in Miami,
6'9", 300 pounds,
ungodly,
and a freight train.
And he took aging vets in the perfect situation and beat them. And this would also be interesting because it would be up and coming.
What's a bigger upset? The Mavericks knocking off the Heatles or the Pacers knocking off the Thunder?
I think it's Pacers knocking off the Thunder, and I think it's because
it's Indiana.
It's because Dirk and Jason Kidd are 2 all-time greats.
I mean, Dirk's a top 15 player of all time. Yep. Jason Kidd's at least a top 25.
He's a top 5 point guard of all time, in my opinion. I mean, for me, it's like Stockton, Magic, and him is where I live.
Well,
Steph. Yeah, I forget. We got to throw Steph.
And then probably Chris Paul and Kidd.
That's your list right there.
That's probably your list.
That's
you're
your
like,
list.
Don't get me wrong, they weren't the best versions of themselves, but also you got Dirk having one of the best and most legendary playoff runs of all time, which Halliburton, while statistically is not putting up those crazy numbers, his efficiency and what he means to that team.
Well, that's true.
Is nuts.
The efficiency is insane.
Nuts.
Oh, he had a bad first half. He had 4 turnovers. Oh, yeah. When was the last time he had a turnover? Game 3 of last series.
He was like, oh, that's right. Like he still almost has a 5-to-1 assist to turnover ratio.
I think this would be the bigger upset. I do.
I don't think you're wrong.
I do. I think because of that. I think.
And if Carlisle was able to do it, boy, that's a hell of a stamp.
Gosh, and it's also interesting, man. I didn't even think about this. Just the style of the game, period.
2 different eras
between then and now is completely
14 years.
different.
And that's the thing, is 14 years apart.
Also, we are now seeing the new NBA.
Mm-hmm.
Like we didn't realize. You might because you're such a head. I didn't realize that we were seeing a new league until now, to where it probably started 2-3 years ago.
And I think it was struggling with its footing, and we got probably a little too overboard in this space and pace, 3-point
Probably
offense.
the last Warriors title is probably where it starts.
Yeah, but I think we've much like I like to make this comparison with the NFL, where it got a little too offensive heavy, and they gave the defense a little bit of love, and all of a sudden you're starting to see the running. Like, in order to optimize, like baseball's done. Like, Manfred drives me nuts
Continuously.
But
what do I always say? If you listen to Hot Corner on Tuesdays from 7 to 9, nobody hates baseball more than baseball.
But the pitch clock
worked,
and increasing the base size
worked,
and getting rid of the shift, all of a sudden, the other parts of the game matter more again, and it makes the game more interesting. And
I was anti all 3, and I'd eat that crow. Still do to this day. I was wrong.
It's made
completely
the game
wrong.
Infinitely better.
Infinitely better.
And in the NFL, that we want more points. We want more points. No, like, we didn't enjoy it as much. It was like, oh, it's this.
You want close physical games.
You want running to be a part of the game. You want defense to be part of the game. The NBA legislating and allowing more physicality to keep the fans like us who we want to see the defense have a chance. And I think Game 6, Pacers-Knicks, was one of the most physical games I've seen in a long time. In the third quarter, there was a couple possessions where Halliburton, Nesmith, and Nembhard just had their hands all over Josh Hart, Mikal Bridges, Jalen Brunson. They were just flustered as hell. Didn't lead to a turnover or anything, but you could tell it was just taking them out of their game.
Josh Hart had a rough series, just in general.
He had a rough,
and I love him to death.
I love Josh, but Game 5 and 6 were just tough for him. But you could see it. It was like, oh, they're just not going to call this. And the Pacers were the team that realized in the second half they're not going to call.
And I think we need to just accept it. I think it's a big knock on officials and how the league is commissioned and run, that they don't call these in the regular season. Why should they call them in the playoffs? Basketball might be the one sport that it works. You don't want to play that hard in the regular season. There's too many games, guys get hurt. You don't want them burning that much energy every night in, night out. But the playoffs, I kind of like it getting a little spicy, especially when you're trying to build rivalries like Indiana, New York. That's how you do it.
You build rivalries through the physicality.
Why do I hate the Knicks? Because I hate Charles Oakley, and I hate John Starks, and I hate Patrick Ewing, and I hate Pat Riley. That's it. I hate all those dudes because they're dirty, they're trash talkers, and that's that.
And it comes
I
out
like
of
the Davis
physicality.
boys. I like Dale Davis and Antonio Davis going toe to toe with those dudes. Reggie looking at Spike Lee in the front. If you want to build those rivalries, you got to do it.
And if
you think the finals will be called the same way?
I hope they are, because look, SGA is incredible, Jalen Brunson is incredible, and drawing fouls is a real skill. You will never hear me deny that. But both those guys,
it's annoying.
James
Harden is hated the most for it.
Yes, but those two guys, they are foul merchants. And Oklahoma City fans like, well, he gets. I'm like, stop. He is. It's okay.
It's okay to be that. It's the game.
But what I hate is when a possession is very clearly designed, where a guy gets in their head, I'm going to get to the line.
Yeah.
Where it's like, you're not trying to create offense, you're trying to create a foul, and you're looking to sell something. I hate that.
Well, I don't think they do that. I don't think SGA does that.
You're insane.
I don't. I think he knows he can. But I think his goal is to score all natural.
I don't. Not all the time.
Really?
Not all the time.
That's a bad mind frame to have then.
I think you're like, hey, look,
that ain't I don't need to say superstar material, but that's not how you win championships.
We need to slow this down. I need to get this guy in foul trouble. I need to do a little something here. And you can
I can understand a little bit of those tactics, but
and again, it's a part of the game.
That's a prevent defense kind of mindset.
And
you know what I mean?
That's the thing. It's the egregious flops. I don't look, if you're so good in SGA, in Brunson in particular, those two guys have the best footwork in the NBA among guards. It's incredible. And they will put you in a pretzel naturally.
Yeah.
Like, you're going to get to the line naturally because of how you move and how you play. It's when they do the whole I got shot in the back by a 50 cal and hit the ground, and you see the replay.
I already watch European football. I don't need more of this.
Yeah, and it's like, no, dude. And we both watch soccer, and like sometimes the dives that I see, I'm like,
at least you get cards for him now.
yeah, and it's like, and you're supposed to institute the flopping fines and the technicals and stuff. At the NBA, they don't do that. I hope we get ethical hoops as much as we can.
Yeah.
Because I think this has the potential, even though OKC is an overwhelming favorite, to have this be a great series.
Well, it like we said, this might be ushering the next form of basketball. And somebody said it, I think Justin Teague said it the other day, like, pay attention, kids. This is how basketball is supposed to be played. And the NBA, you're welcome for SGA, teaching kids to play basketball like we grew up playing basketball. And I love that.